The content in this video is for general educational use. It does not represent political opinions or judgments about any country, culture, or government. Information is based on publicly available sources and may be summarized or simplified. Viewers should verify details through multiple sources.
So you'd think that having a ton of natural resources, oil, timber, that's a one-way ticket to being a rich country, right? But what if all that wealth is actually a trap? That's the paradox we're diving into today with Gabon, a nation on the west coast of Central Africa. How can a country that's so incredibly rich on paper also have so much poverty? Well, let's get into it. Wow, Africa is cursed with riches. I mean, that quote from John Gosvinian just hits you, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up this bizarre idea we're talking about, that your greatest strength, your biggest blessing, could actually be your biggest problem. And this isn't just a poetic idea. It's a real thing economists have a name for, the resource curse. Okay, so what is this resource curse really? It's this wild paradox where countries that are loaded with stuff like oil, the ones you'd expect to be booming, actually tend to have slower economic growth than countries with way fewer resources. It sounds completely backward, I know, but the numbers don't lie. Get this, one study looked at the period from 1970 to 1993 and found that countries without oil saw their economies grow 4 times faster than the ones with oil. It's a real pattern, and it happens all over the world. And if you want to see what this looks like in the real world, well, Gabon is the perfect case study. It's a country of just incredible contrasts. It really shows you both the huge promise and the serious dangers that come with having all this natural wealth. So if you just look at the official stats, Gabon looks like it's doing pretty well. It's technically an upper middle income country, and that's all thanks to its massive reserves of petroleum, manganese, and timber. But that's just the surface. For decades, one family was in charge, and all that resource money kind of papered over a much, much more complicated and difficult reality for most people. And this is that reality. That's the number right there, 31.3%. Despite being an upper middle income country, nearly a third of the people in Gabon live in poverty. We're talking about almost 800,000 people trying to get by on less than $7 a day. It's just so clear the money is not making its way down to the people. You might think, okay, but people are moving to the cities, right? That usually helps. And you'd be right to think that. Gabon is actually the most urbanized country in Africa. But here's the kicker. For the 90% of the population living in those cities, it hasn't made enough of a difference. The economy just hasn't created the jobs or opportunities needed to pull people up. This really gets to the core of the problem. You see this huge imbalance. On one side, you have all this wealth from oil, minerals, and timber. All the focus, all the money goes into getting that stuff out of the ground. But on the other side, things like agriculture and basic infrastructure are just left behind. I mean, think about it. Gabon has over 5 million hectares of land that's perfect for farming, but they only use less than 10% of it. So what happens? They have to import most of their food, which makes the whole country really vulnerable. So what happens when you chain your entire economy to just one thing, like oil? Well, you get stuck. You get trapped because there's no diversification. Gabon's entire fate rises and falls with the crazy swings of global oil prices. On top of that, high energy costs and low productivity basically smother any other new industries before they even have a chance to breathe. And if you're a local entrepreneur trying to start a business, good luck getting a loan. It's a whole system that's just designed to keep the country from moving forward. Okay, so this brings us to a really critical moment, a real crossroads for Gabon. Some researchers have actually modeled what the future could look like. They projected 2 totally different paths for the country out to the year 2043. And let me tell you, the choice between them is, well, it's stark. And these 2 scenarios, they lay out the stakes perfectly. The first one is called the current path. It's pretty much business as usual. What happens if nothing really changes? The second one, though, is called the combined scenario. This is the ambitious one. This is what could happen if Gabon really commits to major integrated reforms in both its economy and its government. And the difference between these 2 paths, it is absolutely staggering. Just look at the projections for 2043. On the path they're on now, the average income or GDP per capita is about $14,000. But with the reforms, it shoots up to almost $19,000. And poverty? It could be more than cut in half, dropping from nearly 12% all the way down to 5%. The whole economy would just be on another level. This chart just says it all, doesn't it? It makes the choice crystal clear. That taller bar, the combined scenario, that's an economy that is 12.4 times billion dollars bigger by 2043. That's a 43% increase, just by making better choices. We're not talking about abstract numbers here. This is real prosperity, real opportunities for people. And this next part might be the most powerful point of all. It's not just about the money. The projections show that in that better future, the average person in Gabon would live almost 3 years longer, 2.8 years longer. That's the real bottom line, isn't it? Good government, smart economic policy, it literally translates into longer, healthier lives. Okay, so we've seen what's possible, right? We see this much brighter future. The obvious next question is, how? How does Gabon actually get there? What's the blueprint to finally break this resource curse? It really boils down to a clear 3-part plan, a 3-pillar strategy. Number 1, diversify the economy, get away from just relying on oil. Number 2, strengthen the government and clamp down on corruption. And number 3, invest in people, their health, their education. Let's break those down. All right, pillar 1, economic diversification. This is the big one. It's all about systematically breaking that dependence on oil and building a much stronger, more resilient economy that has more than just one engine. So what does that actually look like? Well, instead of just chopping down trees and shipping out raw logs, it means building factories to turn that timber into furniture right there in Gabon. It means helping farmers use modern tools and techniques so the country can grow its own food instead of importing it. And it means jumping on the opportunity of the new African Continental Free Trade Area to find new markets for all these new products. Okay, on to pillar 2. And honestly, this might be the most crucial piece of the puzzle, strengthening governance. Because let's be real, if you don't get this right, none of the other stuff matters. It'll all fall apart. This is all about making sure that the money from all those resources actually helps the public, not just a select few. That means you need serious anti-corruption laws. You need total transparency, so everyone knows exactly where the oil and mining money is going. And you have to build up democratic institutions so that every single citizen has a say in where their country is headed. And that brings us to the final pillar. Pillar 3, investing in people. Because at the end of the day, Gabon's most valuable resource isn't its oil, it's the Gabonese people. A healthy, educated population, that's the ultimate engine for any country's success. So what does that mean? It means building up the healthcare system not just to fight infectious diseases like malaria, but also the chronic ones that are on the rise. It means overhauling the education system so that students are graduating with the science and engineering skills that a modern economy actually needs. And, importantly, it also means expanding access to family planning. This helps create what's called a demographic dividend. Basically, you have more working-age people powering the economy, which is a huge boost. And look, this isn't just some academic thought experiment. All of this has become incredibly real and incredibly urgent because Gabon is at a massive turning point in its history right now. For decades, the country was run by a single family. Then, in August 2023, a military coup happened, and it really just blew the lid off how deep the country's problems with governance really were. Now, a coup is obviously a huge disruption, but it's also, it's created this rare window of opportunity. The government now is a transitional one, and they're aiming for democratic elections in 2025. It's a chance for a total reset. And that leaves us with the big question, the crucial question. The path forward is actually pretty clear. The data shows what's possible. The blueprint for reform is there. The only thing missing? The political will to do it. So can Gabon seize this moment? Can it use this transition to finally break free from that resource trap and build a future where all that incredible wealth actually benefits all of its people? I guess we'll have to wait and see which path they choose.